how have we like grown in taking on CF as a team, and I think this is one area where when we first got married, we didn't know we needed to do this.
Surprise!
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, guys. We are just doing our thing. I just had 2 phone calls, and Peter just finished the vlog, and now we are doing house stuff.
Yes.
So come on in and do some house stuff with us.
She's
During my phone calls, I was like doing...
Yeah, I saw you in here. You were like, this kitchen turned into a gym.
Yeah.
She was like scrubbing the trash can, kicking her feet.
Oh yeah, I got like, I'm getting the oven and the trash can and the wall clean.
Nice.
While I was on the phone, so.
Nice. Good job. Cleaning the stove
It's
top.
gotta be clean.
Yeah, I feel like we're making progress on this house, you know?
Yeah.
Getting clean around here. Good job, babe.
I mopped a little bit.
Yeah.
She's probably like, why is she so out of breath? Now we are cleaning the inside of our Keurig.
We've never done this before.
And it's only like 4 years old.
Not that old, is it?
Well, we were in the downstairs apartment.
Yeah. I guess we got it in like 2014 maybe.
Riveting.
Mm-hmm. Let's sucking that through the system then.
Oh, weird.
Now we just keep brewing like 12 times until it's all clean. It's meal making time. We're having some tortilla pizzas, and I'm grilling some more of the zucchini and squash like we had last night. Ooh la la.
What?
That's good. Dinner time, everybody everywhere.
Yesterday while we were out shopping, we got a case of these jars. The main purpose was so that Peter can make his juice like in his fresh, like the fresh juice maker, and then store them for a couple of days in these jars. Did you tell them that, or? Okay, so then we'll have some extras, obviously, that we can use for other reasons. So that'll be cool. Do you think you'll make any today?
Yeah, maybe tonight I'll get juiced up.
We can't eat outside because it's way too hot.
And I said, it's so hot I didn't even have to turn on the grill to cook our dinner. No, when I touched the grill though, it was so hot.
Really?
Yeah.
Next course, a salad. Ta-da!
Oh, that looks delicious. Thank you.
Quick update on my domperidone, or however, domperidone. Whatever. The medication that is supposed to help my gastroparesis, that's slowing down of the gut. It's supposed to make my gut go faster, I guess, like help my stomach get rid of the food because it sits in my stomach for too long. Anyway, an update on taking that because it's been a couple of weeks now and I haven't noticed anything. I haven't noticed any good good benefits or bad things. I haven't noticed any side effects. So I'm just gonna keep going with it, and I mean, I'll be talking with my doctor about it tomorrow, but yeah, I think it's just one of those that I'm gonna keep trying it and see what happens. We have Bible study here at the house in just a few minutes, so I am gonna get ready for that, and we will see you later.
Hey, y'all.
We just finished Bible study, and then we... Pardon me.
Pardon on you.
I have a doctor's appointment tip for you.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking we should tell them about what we just did.
That's hilarious. I was thinking the same thing. So before clinic, before I go meet with my doctor or my team or whatever, we always talk through what so we don't want to be surprised. Like when the doctor says, well, how are you feeling? And then I say like, oh, I'm really not feeling good. And Peter says like, oh, I thought you were feeling okay. We don't want to have that like...
Okay, so this is... I'm sure a lot of you have wondered, basically, how have we like grown in taking on CF as a team? And I think this is one area where when we first got married, we didn't know we needed to do this.
That's a really good way of putting it.
Okay, so like we just sat outside while Ollie was playing ball, and we talked about what our perception of Mary's health is right now, and kind of just like zooming out and evaluate basically what we're going to do tomorrow at clinic with her doctor, but then to go into it first so that we're both on the same page.
Right. And also because it can be really confusing for me to try to evaluate my own health. You know, I'm doing the same thing every day. I'm coughing every day. I'm feeling icky every day, but sometimes it's hard for me to see, am I doing better this month or last month? Are things getting a little bit worse or a little bit better? Like, where am I at? Because the doctor's going to ask me that tomorrow. And so it's really helpful for us to talk through it. And then kind of decide like, okay, so where we're at is, do we feel like we're probably going to need IVs or maybe not? And that sort of thing, so that we don't feel surprised by what happens tomorrow. We could still be surprised by what happens tomorrow in a good way. We're surprised by a not so good thing, but
and it's not so much like deciding what we think the outcome of tomorrow is. It's more of being on the same page of where we are going into tomorrow.
Right.
And meeting with her doctor, and so we're going to CF clinic tomorrow. I don't know if we mentioned that piece of it, and like evaluating her lung health with her doctor. And I think one thing I've realized, and I think as someone who is a spouse or a friend or a family member of someone with CF or probably another chronic illness, this would apply. Like, I've tried to, throughout the years of our relationship and marriage, try to figure out how I can best support Mary when she goes to the clinic and talks with the doctor. I realized early on in our marriage, and even like when we were dating, I would come along to some of Mary's doctor's appointments, and I'd just kind of observe and listen and that sort of thing. And I was in this kind of learning stage of what it looks like. But one of the things that I realized along the journey is that in that moment of sitting in the CF clinic room talking with the doctor, it can like feel frustrating for Mary because she does this every day. Like, she's coughing her brains out and she's trying to just make it through each day, and then the doctor asks, how are you doing? And I realized like that's a hard question for Mary to be able to answer. And so what we've realized along the journey is to talk it through beforehand and kind of evaluate it helps tomorrow go better when he asks those questions. Yeah. Don't you feel like that's a hard question whenever the doctor asks, like, how are you feeling?
Yeah, because, you guys know, whatever it is in life that is a challenge for you, whatever it is, whether it's health or whatever, if somebody's like, so how are you doing? You kind of say, fine. And then, but you have to decide, like, I don't know, it's hard because you can't spell out every challenging thing, but at the same time, you don't want to brush over things that might be helpful information. So, like, when I'm meeting with my doctor, I try to describe as clearly as possible where my symptoms are at so that he can help us determine what is a good treatment plan. So I try to take, sometimes I take mental notes, but a lot of times I take notes on my phone.
Yeah.
If I'm having fevers or if I'm having different symptoms, and I try to keep notes of those so that I can kind of go over that with him.
Yeah, it's kind of like a journal of symptoms that she keeps in one of her notes on her phone.
Yeah, and I don't do it every day. I do not, like, I guess I don't do it every day because there's not something notable in every day. But if something notable happens, then that's when I do it. Yeah. I also, another tip is writing down the things you would like to talk about with your doctor. Yeah. Because I find that I get in that room and I think on our way to the hospital I will remember these things, and I don't. So I literally have my list of things, and I think my doctor is, like, he knows me well enough that he knows that I have a list of things, and I do this a lot of times before the hospital as well, just so that I'm on the same page as them. Like, okay, so you are planning to do an MRI and this and that, so that I know what I'm going into. Yeah. And of course there are things that come up that were not planned, and that's okay. But anyway, so for clinic, I write down, these certain questions about my feeding tube, and my mucus is really seeming infected, or whatever it is.
Or even like, I need a new prescription for this medication, and we have found that is really helpful when Mary has those things written down.
I will also say it has been super helpful as we've gotten used to doing this as a team, having Peter share with my doctor his perspective on my health. And my doctor will address Peter and say, like, at night, is she snoring? Like, which would indicate
sinus issues.
Yeah, sinus issues or whatever. So, like, they also evaluate my health from a different perspective than I can. And I am really grateful for that. It's just helpful for me.
Yeah, because it's kind of like that whole, like, scenario where, like, you have the trees in the forest. Like, you sometimes have to zoom out of all the symptoms and everything and get the bigger picture. Whereas Mary's, like, always in the midst of the trees, like, coughing every day and everything. And sometimes you just need other perspective, or it's helpful to get other perspective.
And I will say that before Peter was my partner in this, it was my mom and dad taking my sister and I to our doctor's appointments. And so it's interesting to think back to when I was younger. I remember the doctor asking me questions about my health, and I remember looking at my mom before I answered, because sometimes you just need, like, if they say, do you feel like you're coughing more? And it's like, I think so, right? I think I'm coughing more. And it's like, I have to get that, like, I don't know, it's just helpful. It's not necessary. If you're somebody who goes to your appointments by yourself, it's not necessary to have somebody else in the room with you. I just find that it's helpful for me to have that other perspective. I guess because Peter was saying, like, as far as where my health is at right now, he said, I think you're not doing as well as you were a month ago, and, like, your cough is increased and that sort of thing. So, and I agree, like, I totally agree, but I think it's just helpful to have that kind of articulation from an outside perspective. So those are our little tips. Talk through it either with yourself or with another person. Yeah. And then also keep notes if that's helpful for you. I also find random that when I'm in the hospital, I like to keep notes of if, like, the immunologist comes in and discusses something with me. I want to, like, keep a note of that because I think I'm gonna remember this, and then I don't. So anyway,
good tips.
So those are our little tips and tricks. CF tips and tricks with Mary and Peter.
Tune in next week for I don't know.
I don't know either.
We'll see. Or you can tune in tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you could do that too. And
as always,
we will see you tomorrow.
Good night.